Don't mess with Texas, because apparently it's a really trashy place. We've all heard the saying, don't mess with Texas, but where did that saying come from? If you're anything like me, you probably just chalked it up to one of those big bravado things that Texans say and do to try to convince themselves that Texas is a good place to be from. I don't know, they've got that whole Texas pride indoctrination thing going on where they like really love talking about Texas and being from Texas and saying things like don't mess with Texas and God bless Texas and remember that time we got our asses kicked at the Alamo. Most of the rest of us don't really understand the enthusiasm. It's kind of weird to think that God would have blessed Texas because most of the times I've been there it's reminded me of hell. But hey, they really love it and are really loud about it, and that's good for them, I guess. I just kind of always assumed that the don't mess with Texas thing was just part of all of that they've got going on down there. And it is, kind of, but it actually has a much more deliberate and recent origin story that you probably wouldn't have guessed. See, by the 80s, Texas had gotten to be a really trashy place. Literally. And the Texas Department of Transportation was spending $20 million a year picking up trash and litter on the sides of the roads, which was kind of surprising considering all the privatized prison slave labor that they got down there. So the Texas Department of Transportation hired a marketing firm to come up with a slogan that would hopefully convince Texans to stop being such slobs. And the marketing firm was having trouble coming up with something catchy. A couple weeks before the deadline, one of the marketing execs was on a walk, and he's looking at all the trash around, and he's like, man, this place is a mess. He's like, oh, mess, like it's a messy place and you don't want to mess up Texas, and maybe we should do something like don't mess up Texas, but that's not that catchy. But you also don't want to mess with Texas, because when you mess with Texas we lose and then we don't shut up about it for the next 200 years and it's really fucking annoying. But also if you're leaving your litter around making a mess in Texas, that's messing with Texas, and that's close enough to connect the dots for me, so that's what we're going with. And then he did some guerrilla marketing for it, where before the campaign was actually going to launch, they went out and they put like bumper stickers and t-shirts and like truck stops and shit that just said don't mess with Texas, and it didn't say anything about littering, it didn't say anything about Texas DOT, just don't mess with Texas. And then Texans just ate that shit up because, you know, they're Texans. After they did that, they officially launched their campaign on New Year's Day 1986 with a commercial at the Cotton Bowl, just some big college football game down there. I guess Texans are really obsessed with college football and high school football. They're just really obsessed with football. In fact, I think football is really the only reason Texas even has schools, because it certainly ain't for any of that fancy book learning. I'm pretty sure the only reason they even have books in Texas is as a backup heat source when their third world power grid fails. Here we thought all the book burnings were because of fascism, but maybe it's just how they survive the winter in that dystopian hellscape. Anyway, they air their commercial at the Cotton Pickin' Bowl, and they have Stevie Ray Vaughan sing a little song about it, and Texans fucking loved it. They loved it so much they started calling their local television stations requesting that the TV stations play the music video they saw during the Cotton Bowl. Yep, they thought an anti-littering PSA was a music video, which may be one of the best arguments I've heard as to why we shouldn't burn books for heat or fascism, but whatever, it did its job. And so they kept pushing the campaign with different celebrities and athletes, and it worked. By 1990, the amount of litter was down by 72%. So while don't mess with Texas is kind of a trashy catchphrase, it made Texas a less trashy place. Quite literally. I'll see myself out.